a lot of good stuff going on. You know, our economy is going to lend us to a lot of great things this year. There's a lot of big businesses closing. People want to stay home, and you know all this from the news. And we've got a comp plan change that I'm really, really super excited about. Just a note, I don't know how many saw it in the US LifeVantage Distributor Group. They're going to be doing the Evolve training. So if you were not able to get to one of the meetings, and they're going around February 2, but they just don't have those dates up. Every Wednesday, 3 times a day, every Wednesday, they're going to have, and this is in the US LifeVantage Distributor Group. Let me let them in. At 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So 10, 3, and 7 Mountain Time. So you have to adjust that for wherever you are. And it's Rachel, Brandon, Tyler, Sean Poe, and they're going to rotate around. So, and I do believe
it's the same people that have been flying around that are doing it online. It's the same group.
Yeah. So, and again, more and more questions keep coming up, you know, as we go.
Facebook? Is it on Facebook?
Facebook. Yeah. The US, LifeVantage Distributors Group.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing that I want to talk about, today is, you know, there's a lot of things going on in the world that we really don't have control over. You know, a lot of people these days don't have control over their health. We have all these crazy diseases going on and all different stuff going on. They don't have control over their careers anymore. You know, with all the different people that are getting laid off, you know, or the amount of income they have. We have a girl here in the neighborhood, I won't say what she does, so you don't know, but, you know, they actually did a decrease on her salary. They just said, you know, we used to give you 100% of your worth. Now you're only getting 75. And that's just too bad. If you don't want the job, don't take the job. So it's like the world is getting kind of crazy out there, you know, and so people are going to need something like we have. But the thing we do have control over is our actions. And the only thing, and, you know, I'll use Bobby and I as a probably a perfect example. You know, he is very good at talking. He, you know, was great at training. He has all those attributes of everything, you know, and I tend to be a lot of times a lot quieter and stuff, but it's the actions, it's the movement, it's the compulsion that if you keep going forward, you can do huge things in this business. You don't need any special skills, but you need to do it consistently. And we always say this, and, you know, there's that theory out there, the 80-20 theory, where, you know, 80% just don't, and you've heard this, 20% do. And we also sometimes use what is kind of horrible in this industry is some will, some won't, so what? And you don't really want to be a so what. And nobody ever has to be a so what if they just get into movement. It has to be consistent movement. So, you know, I'm going to go back to, and I'm actually, when we are done here, I'll go back into our training group, and I'm going to pin, or I'll put towards the top. Years ago, we did something called the consistency chain. And the consistency chain really dealt with why 20% do and 80% don't. And that's just the statistics, you know, when we look at, you know, who's on stage, who's being successful, it's because the 20% are more hardwired in the beginning of their brain to do the daily habits and be able to see things down the road that will happen. Most people are not good enough to put things off. And there's a funny thing they did, and I forget what university it was, but years ago, they did something called the marshmallow test. Have you all heard of this one? The marshmallow test? Okay. And those people are in their 60s now, maybe in a little older, probably maybe 65. But what happened is they put like 300 5-year-olds and brought them in a room. They brought these 300 5-year-olds, got them together, brought them in a room one at a time. And they sat them down at the table and they put a marshmallow there. And they said, if I go out, you can eat the marshmallow anytime you want. But if you leave the marshmallow and I leave the room and I come back, I'm going to give you 2 marshmallows. Well, true to form, 80% of those kids ate the marshmallows. They never got a second marshmallow because they didn't have that frontal cortex where it would put off delayed gratification. So this is human nature, but we can actually work through that. And what happened is this book called The Consistency Chain, funny, and I'll put the video. The video is almost stand-up comedy. It is definitely worth the time to listen to. But they gave us a form to work with the 80%ers in a way that they can actually work through it. And it all happened with this guy, and you've heard Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian. So somebody asked Jerry how he got to be a much better comedian. And his whole thought to being a comedian was never to be the best or to make the gazillions of dollars, millions of dollars that he did, but it was to get better every day. So he did something very simple with himself where he decided every day he was going to tell a joke. And so that's how he practiced his trade there. But that's very much the same thing for us. And so this consistency chain, and the big thing is you have to start today. If you don't start today with your consistency chain, and I'll explain a little bit more exactly what it is, but if you don't start today, there's a high probability that you'll never start. And so the problem with our industry is we want to get, everything right. We want all our ducks in a row, and we want to make sure everything is perfect, but it's never perfect. And in fact, you don't get paid well for herding ducks or whatever, for anything. I mean, it's just, this is an industry where you have to start. It'll never be perfect, but so many things happen when you're consistent every day. One, just like Jerry Seinfeld, you get better. You get better with talking to people. And so with this consistency chain, what it does is teach you to get that instant gratification that the 80% of the people need on a daily basis. They just could take like a regular old calendar. You can make up your old calendar or whatever. And every day that you talk to two people, now life has gotten a whole lot easier because I believe when this book was written, we were still using the phone a lot. Everybody is texting now. Nobody picks up the phone and talks to anybody. If they're going to talk to you by phone, they'll text you and say, do you have a minute to talk? That's what happens with me all day long. I text, and every once in a while, somebody say, do you have a minute to talk? 98% of everything I do is through the phone, through Facebook Messenger. Nobody's picking up the phone anymore. So this became a whole lot easier for us. Every day we need to do 2 reach outs to 2 people to start the conversation. I'm not saying, and next week I actually got into Brandon Cunningham's group, and I want to show you their messages and stuff. Their messages look just like ours, look just like Rachel's did when she did the company call. Everybody's got these same messages that they're sending out. So it's really, at some point, at best, it becomes a copy and paste. I mean, I may add a little to the front of it, make it a little bit more personalized, but depending on what you're asking for, all these messages are the same. But you'll see, even the 20%ers that maybe are on here and stuff, if you're a 20%er, you will do that much better because you're compelled every day to make sure that you make something happen. And I think Bobby can tell you with, my social media, and I know Jennifer and I worked together last Monday night before our meeting. You can see, I mean, I date everything, I move it along, and I'm almost like compulsive about not getting to it at the end of the day. It really, if for some reason it's just super busy day, I feel like I have to touch it. And it made me think of Tara, you've heard of Tara Wilson, right? She said one time, I remember listening to her, she always makes a point of touching her business. It may only be for 5 minutes a day, but she never lets a day go by where she doesn't touch her business. This is a business where you can accomplish a lot in a little bit, but it has to be consistent. And Bobby can tell you, when we used to go on cruises and stuff where we were, our first company would take us on these very elaborate cruises. We're very grateful we went, but it always took us away from our business, took us away from the news, what was going on over here, and really took us away from our business. And when we came back, you had to get like resharp again. I don't know how to explain it, but because you weren't used to talking to people. So if you can just every day take that calendar and cross off because you spoke to 2 people, that X becomes your immediate gratification. And you can do this with anything. You can do this with exercise. You could do it with diet through the day. You can do it with anything you want. But the whole thing is, once you get to day 3, you've started this chain. And now you don't want to break the chain. It becomes a compulsion where you need to not break the chain and you become obsessive about it. And now your business takes off. You'll find that as you talk to people, it's not always that they join right this minute, but when you do 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, you've got lots of people in that funnel. You've heard us talk about the funnel. You don't put all the people in the funnel at once. You put them in little by little. They kind of hang out there. And then when they're ready to pop out, they pop out. So again, if you can get to, whether you do it by the phone, you do it by social media. I mean, we all have so many contacts just on our phone. You don't even have to go to social media. But if you do 2 reach outs a day, you will be amazed at how fast your business grows, because otherwise the days become weeks, become month. And what happens is you really only have 2 days in the month. You have the first day of the month, and then all of a sudden it's the end of the month, and you've done nothing in between. We have a lot of people that are great closers for the last 3-4 days. It's like they don't work all week and all month, and they work the last few days. That's an enigma. That not too many people are like that. That's a gifted person. But the most successful people you'll see, even as their customer orders come in and their distributor orders come in, it's through the month. It's not always. I am never aware of when I am dealing with somebody, I'm not focusing on it's the first of the month or I need to get volume at the end of the month. I am that consistent through the month that the end of the month, other than helping people rank advance, never really means that much, because I do the same thing day in and day out. So again, my message here would really be to get into consistent motivation and do the littlest thing twice a day. And if it helps you to not break that chain, to mark your calendar each day for just doing 2. I mean, is there anybody that can't text 2 people some kind of message to get a conversation going? Everybody can do that. And you'll be amazed how your business grows. So many different things go on, and we just don't want to break that chain. But the big thing is, you got to do it tonight. Got plenty of time tonight. It's still, even here on the East Coast, 8:13, we still got plenty of time that we can go ahead and we can text 2 people and mark it off for the day, so that we do have that immediate gratification. Because if you do put it off, it just doesn't happen. So that's kind of my tip for the day. I am going to label that video. I'll dig it back up. The book is called The Consistency Chain. It came all about because Jim Packard, who was the one that Bobby and I got to know best, he actually had a copier company, and he bought the copier company for like, I don't know, $500 or something. But he himself was a really good salesman. He was a 20%er. He was the guy that would make the plans and do everything he needed every day. But his partner, Jim Packard, who helped him, was the 80%er. And what's interesting, he is very flamboyant. He was a comedian. When you see his humor on the screen, he's great to watch. It's a great video. It's like I said, it's almost like stand-up comedy. But he's the person, and we've all done this, where you look at a person and you said, that person would be really good in my business. Have you not all done that? We look at people and we're like, that person is going to be so good in my business. But because they don't do all the little actions, they never get anywhere. They don't want to do what they call the, the ESP. They don't want to do the things that are not easy, not safe, and not pleasurable. They want things to be that way. And sometimes when you pick up the phone, maybe you are a little bit scared. But I got to tell you what I've noticed, even with mine, once you get a new customer or distributor, it makes all those reach outs a whole lot easier. It's just like, you just don't even hear the no's after a while. It's just, you just, like when the customers pop up, when the distributors pop up, and it makes you want to go and do it even more, reach out to more people. So anyway, do you want to add to that, Bobby? Because I know you were on the call and you remember all that.
Yeah, and grab a paper and pen, because I got a list of things I want to go over with you. But in regards to what April was saying, and I know a lot of you, some of you are new, but I know some of you for years now. The one thing you got to realize, when April was talking about when we were on cruises, we hated being away from the business, because when we got back, it felt like we were nowhere again and had to start all over again, and had gotten, our blade had gotten dull. Well, back then when we were cruising every year and we were on 22 of them, that the company was taking us all over the world, it was either email or telephone. Okay, that was it. There was no other way to communicate. And when you're on the phone with someone, you're going to get a much quicker response talking to less people than when you're communicating on social media or messenger or text. So the one thing to keep in mind, we always said back when we were phone, we could get 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 people to buy something. Okay. Well, now that number could be 1 out of 30 or 40, but it only takes you a few seconds to reach out to that person. I heard something today that really blew my mind, but it explained a lot to me. I had about a week ago, a girl, a lady, a pretty lady that I've known for a lot of years, reached out and said, I want to buy that collagen. She saw it. You've seen the butt picture, right? The wrinkly butt to the smooth butt that we've all posted it. Okay. So she saw that and got back and said, I want to buy it. Okay. Send me a link. And I've been talking to her for months. So I sent it and I was a little surprised that she didn't order. Okay. And I sent her, I reminded her, a couple days later, and she still didn't. And you got to realize what happens, folks, whether it's text or if you're in Messenger, when you get off the front page, you're gone. Okay. You're gone. It's history. See, if they're getting other text messages and it pushes you off the page, or if they're really busy in Instant Messenger and you get 20, 30, 40 messages down, they're not going back to it. Okay, they didn't get to it. It didn't happen. It's gone. And I heard today that it's an average of 5 or 6 follow-ups after they ask for the link that the order happens. You would think when they asked for the link, they intended to buy. Well, you know what? When they did ask for the link, they did intend to buy. But things happen. They get busy. Other texts come in, other messages come in. You get pushed off the front page, and they may or may not get back to it depending on the urgency of whatever it was they wanted or needed. So keep that in mind. Just because somebody, it's funny, I was kidding with Allie a week or 2 ago. She had a friend ordering whatever it was, I guess collagen out in California, and said the person was online doing it now. And I said, well, stay on top of that, because most of the time they don't. Okay, they don't. And if you don't see a message come in, keep in mind, you're going to need to continue to follow up with that. And it's not because they changed their mind. We think we're bugging them. Okay, we're not bugging them. We got off the first page that they see and they forgot about it. Okay, that's all it is. So anyway, that same person that I said I like a lot, and the reason I like her a lot is she owns a salon. I've known her for a long time. She looks the part, and she'd be great at this business. So I reached out again yesterday and I caught her. And she said, man, I'm so sorry. I forgot all about it. And she was like, I said, hey, I just got a whole bunch of product in. Why don't you just Venmo April the money and I'll send it out of my inventory. You'll have it in a couple of days. And within 10 seconds, April had the money and I dropped product because we had bought a couple of years supply of collagen for April and I. So we were afraid they would run out again. And we said, we ain't ever going to run out again. That is never going to happen. So we bought a lot and I dropped her month supply off at the post office today. And now I have her in, okay, and I can begin to pursue what I really want to happen, which is to get her in the business, okay? But she didn't forget, she didn't change, she forgot, but she didn't change her mind, okay? She was probably in her salon when she messaged me. The next client came in, her text kept going, I got off the front page, and so what if I don't follow up? What if you don't follow up? we lose the deal, folks. Okay, that's what happens. So just keep that in mind. But we
Bobby,
do have,
Bobby, let's do one more follow-up. Explain how you send the link these days, because what we didn't realize was not to send the whole website, but the item, the shopping
yeah,
cart.
you depending on what you're talking about with them, you need to send them the link that takes them directly to that product and not to your website. Okay. So, you know, if you're talking collagen, the link that you want to send them is the link that brings them to the collagen, where they see it with fat burn, they see it with Protandim, and they see it by itself. And those are the only three things on the page. Okay. So if you're talking Tri-Synergizer, you need to just send them to the page that you're talking about. Now, they're on your website when you send them there. And that doesn't mean they can't go buy other things or look at other things, but you got to send them to the page that you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah, I actually send my people right to the shopping cart. So if we talk about the
You
glow
fill the
package,
card in, right?
yeah, send them right to the cart. You know, it's our job as we do follow-up if I want to get them on other product, but I've sold them on what's in the cart. All I want them to do is check out. I don't want them to get confused or sidetracked with looking at anything else. So if you're using that friends and family link, grab the friends and family link, put it in your browser and go as if you were actually checking out. And then you're going to see that little squiggly, the side crazy
It
8.
looks like a chain link.
Yeah, copy that and send them that. So all they see is to actually check out at that point. Because otherwise, you know, they get our website, which is great, but there's a lot of information. They start clipping videos. Then a kid calls them or something distracts them and you never get it. They show there's a high probability that when somebody is in the cart, when they have the cart, it's a done deal. When you send them just the website, they can browse and get lost and stuff.
So just something to keep in mind. Now, a couple other things, okay? Obviously, it's the end of the pay period, and we should go into our 2-minute drill between tonight, tomorrow, and Tuesday, and just close as much business as we can, but also double check your rank and your team's ranks and see who's close to ranking up, okay? Just see who's close. And if you have an extra minute, be looking at the new comp plan. It's not just the Pro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but look at the numbers they're at, because come March, it's going to be those new levels. Okay. So you always want to, you know, and the other thing about the end of the month, you always want to end on a high note. You always want to end with momentum. You never want to be standing still. That's why April does so good. It doesn't matter to her if it's the first of the month, the middle of the month, or the last of the month, nothing changes. Okay. It's the same thing all the time. She doesn't want to interrupt, okay, the momentum that she's got going on and the routine that she's got going on. Now, the end of the month gets a little busier because obviously you're helping teammates move around. Okay. So that gets a little bit busier, but so keep that in mind. And if you do need any help over the next couple of days, we're both available, so you can reach out. I got a couple things I want to go over with you, but remember, April is going to be in Chicago with Dr. Castori and Dr. Grege Friday and Saturday this week, the 3rd and 4th. So there's going to be meeting and training Friday night on the 3rd, meeting and training Saturday morning on the 4th, same location, Dr. Grege's office. But anybody that you know in Chicago, and you should be asking who knows people in Chicago, you should send them over. You know, that you should definitely send them over. You don't need to be there, okay? But you want, they're highly productive people. You know, the group there is doing a lot of business. Jay is rank advanced 3 times. Dr. Grege is rank advanced 3 times in the last, 5 months. Okay. And that's because of all the business that's going on there. There's a lot of results coming in. So keep that in mind. Okay. Zuma, just shoot April a text. She'll give you the times. Okay. But it's Friday evening and it's Saturday morning. And I know April's not flying back to Saturday night. So there'll be no rush and she'll have as much time as needed to talk to people and answer questions Saturday. Okay, that there's no rush there. Do you know offhand what the hours are, the night and the day, April, off the top of your head?
Saturday, we're starting at 10 and 7 o'clock on Friday.
Okay, you got that, Zoom, and that's Central Time.
I'm sending her the picture.
Okay. All right, so here's something else. You know, we're coming into the last month of the pay period, the pay system, the pay plan that we have, and it's going to be changing in March. It brings up a very, very unique situation to almost like double dip. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. Whether it's today, tomorrow, Tuesday, or the 28 days of February, we have an opportunity to earn 40% on all new distributors and, okay, all new customers. But going into the new plan, we're going to have an opportunity in March on all those customers that we brought in already have our career. Everybody that we got on subscription is going to be grandfathered into the new system. So we have an opportunity in March to not only earn 40% on them in January and February, but to earn 10, 15, 20, 25, up to 30% on them in March and every month thereafter. And the reason why it could be anywhere from 10 to 30, it just depends on how many customers you got. Okay, that's all it is. It just depends on how many you have. You know, so 10 is the minimum, but if you have over 500 points in customers, then it's 15. If you have over 1,000, then it's 20. If you have over 2,000, okay, it's 25. If you have over 4,000, it's 30. So it's just a matter of how many you got. But for some of you, whether it's Jayer or Grija or Zuma, some of you, you know, have a chunk of customers. It's really an opportunity to double dip on front money because you're going to get almost as much on repeat business as you do when you bring them in. So this is really for the next 31 days, because we got 3 here and 28. It should be pedal to the metal time to enroll as many people as possible so we can begin March double dipping. Okay. And that's, you know, I mean, it's just an amazing opportunity that we have all been grandfathered in. So we have all the benefits, okay, of what we've already done. And we start with all the benefits of the new program at the same time. Okay. So, and again, some of you I know don't even know the comp plan. I get it. Okay. Believe me, I understand it. It just happens to be something I do know. Okay. You don't want to miss the next 31 days. If there was ever a time that if you've never enrolled 5, 10, 15, 20 people in a month, if there was ever a time in your life that you wanted to do that for the first time, this is the month that you want to do that. Okay. And after you start getting paid in the new system and begin to understand it, okay, you'll say, wow. And then we'll be able to show you why that is what it is. Okay. Let me just give you an example. If you have been earning a residual check every month on your subscriptions, chances are it's been between 2 and 5%. Okay. If they're on your first level, chances are it's been 2 to 5. If you were putting them on your third level and getting 9%, you might have been averaging 5 or 6. So I'm just going to use the number 5. Okay. Think about getting 5%. And then overnight, that 5% can go to 30%. Just because the calendar changed from February to March. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're not talking about something minor. We're talking about something major. And then you're saying, well, Bobby, I only got 10 customers. I don't have 100 like you guys. Okay, I get it. Okay. But the 5 for you would have been 2. You're getting 2 then if that's all you got. And that's going to go to 10. So you're going to get 5 times the average paycheck just with subscriptions, okay, is going to go up. You look at your paycheck, see what you earned on subscriptions, okay, just subscriptions. That would be your unilevel check, okay, on subscription. So you look where it says unilevel, and whatever that number is, multiply it times 4, 5, or 6, okay, and see if that doesn't excite you. So again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I do want to leave time for questions, but one more thing I want to share with you. In March, the Evolve launch starts in New Orleans, okay? April and I, we just rented an Airbnb, and when you compare the price of the hotel rooms, keep in mind in New Orleans that week in March, it's spring break and it's St. Patrick's Day weekend. And New Orleans is probably the #1 party town that there is in this country. So obviously hotels got expensive, okay? But Airbnbs are still fairly reasonably priced. And if ours is full, okay? But there's an opportunity for any of you to rent one, and we could find out if anyone needs a room and help you fill it. Okay, we can put people together if they don't have, the hotels are running $350 a night, some of them $400 a night. So if you got 3 nights, you're looking at $1,000, $1,100 for hotel. Even if you're splitting that, okay, you're still looking at, $500, $600 for the hotel. So we were able to get an Airbnb, and this is about what it was, okay? And this one was a little bit more because I just wanted this particular place, okay? But we were able to get 4 nights, not 3, because we're going to spend a little extra time there, where it averaged out to $600 per bedroom for the entire stay. Okay, and we had 5 bedrooms, so there's 5 people paying $600, and the place cost $3,000. Okay, so when you divide that per night, it's coming out to about $150 a night. Even if you're only staying 3 nights, okay, we're doing 4, it's still $200 a night instead of $350 or $400, and you have an entire house with a kitchen, living room, backyard, the whole thing. So if you're wondering where you're going to stay down there, I would advise, some folks to look at Airbnb, and I can tell you, there was still 15 or 20 houses available from where I chose the one we rented. Okay, so the houses are still there, and it's just a matter of 3, 4, or 5 of you getting together and divvying it up. That's all it is. And we'll introduce people to each other if somebody wants to do it. So just keep that in mind. If it's a cheaper way to go. If you're going to put 3 or 4 people in a hotel room, then you can get the price way down on that too. So it's kind of what you prefer. But April, any last things before we open up for questions?
No.
Okay, let me just make sure I got it all. Okay, let's go from there. Any questions on anything, whatever?
Lynn's raising her hand.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Is that Friends and Family program going to continue after
No.
March?
No, that's done.
Oh, okay.
No, the loyalty program is taken over for our customers. We're going to have that, a new loyalty program, and they're going to have an opportunity to earn $10 or $20 on just about every order, like every other month. They're going to get a chance to do that instead of just once.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Good.
plus, they're going to get free product on their birthday and their annual, twice a year, April, right? What is it? Their anniversary?
Second month
No.
on their anniversary.
Yeah,
Second month
second
and their
month, yeah.
anniversary. Okay. I know it was twice a year, so.
Yeah. Cool.
Bob, you were talking about sending the link. App is the best place to send the link.
Sure.
I use the app all the time. I don't use the computer to send the link. It is the easiest way to send the link.
And there's more than
And
one way to
my
do that.
people
Now,
are
let me
just
tell you
going and doing
something
it
that,
on the app.
let me just give you something else that we started doing just this week. We're going to begin using, now again, most of you don't do anything with doctors and salons and stuff, but we do. We have a lot of clients in that area. And we're going to start putting not only a QR code on all of our material, but whenever we bring somebody in the business, we're going to get a QR code for them. So they have that. You know what that is? The square with all the dots that you see on everything. It's called a QR code. Well, they're free and Canva does it for free. If you have a Canva account, you can just do your own. But we mentioned it, I mentioned it to 4 or 5 of our doctors in the last 3 days, and they went bananas over it. Okay, because even in a salon, if the code is on a poster they're looking at, they can just take a picture of it with their phone while they're sitting there and they got it. It's done. Okay. And the person, whether it's the doctor, the nurse, the nail technician, the hair person, they don't need to be involved with writing anything down, selling anything, doing anything. As a matter of fact, while the person's waiting there for their hair to be done or their nails to be done, they can scan it and order it while they're sitting there, right on their phone. Okay, so something you may want to consider doing or using is a QR code on whatever it is you're circulating or giving out, or, you know, we're always thinking big and we always thinking about the high volume locations, and that will save a lot of time. And that also would make it very easy for somebody that's employed to do the business and not have to get distracted and worried about their job. Okay, where if they just had a QR code to use. So anyway, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that now, but I would advise you to do it. Canva does it. There's probably other places that do it for free, but it's an easy way to share the information with people. So April, who else?
Any other
got
question?
questions? Can we do a quiz?
The QR code then sends them to the salon's webpage.
It's they're all, and not only the webpage, but it could be directly to the product that they're marketing.
Okay.
Okay, but the QR code sends them to their specific website. Absolutely. What we've been doing with all the doctors' offices and salons that we have selling collagen is making the code up for them so they can put it on all their stuff, and it takes them right to the collagen page on their website. So it's bringing them, you know, right to that. So,
You know, another idea, and I know we touched on this last week, you know, again, with the economy, the way they're talking, things are going. The first thing when people, money gets tight is they stop donating to charities, churches and stuff. So the way the new program is set up with no minimum purchase needed, you know, and can make 10 to 30% on all repeat orders. That's like a dream for any not-for-profit or church or anything like that. So, you know, if you need help or ideas with that, let us know, because they're going to be hit hard.
We just set up an animal sanctuary today, and you've seen pictures of us at April's friend's house with all the horses and animals and stuff. They're always looking to raise money because they never want to say no to a rescue. And the rescue could be an 800-pound pig. It could be a pony. It could be a donkey. It could be a cow. It could be anything. They take in, you know, rooster, whatever it is. They have 11 acres. They take it in. But in order to maintain that, especially with vet bills, they need to start raising money so they can keep saying yes. And we just set them up today as a not-for-profit. They are a not-for-profit, but when they heard that it could be 30% on every order every month, I mean, their eyes almost jumped out of their heads, because it was never like that before, and they had never seen anything like that in any company before we presented it. And we met with them for 2 hours at happy hour the other day, and they gave the okay to set it up. So today we set it up.
So it's not a little bit of money anymore. So like if they're stuck, let's say they're just starting and they don't have a whole lot of customers and they've got 500 points, you know, 50, so
That's
they earn
15%.
$75 that month.
Right.
But you know, when they're up to the 4,000, it's 1,200. So even if you look at it this way, even if I were to donate $75 each month, and I would probably be a pretty generous donation for a lot of different charities or whatever, and maybe not a church, but for a charity or something you would do it on the side every month in and out. You know, I think about even our church, people go on and they go on a monthly plan to help offset the cost of the building or the vehicles and stuff. But every once in a while they fall off too. They do it and stop. So to be able to have that consistent is huge. And so when you're painting that picture, you could take 500, take 1,000 for $200, take, you know, and so give them an idea of 4,000 is 36 customers. So these are the things that they kind of have to know to be able, you can't just say 5, 10, 30%, because 30% again,
They got to know dollars.
yeah, they can't relate to. So do a little math for yourself and just say, you know, look, if you have $500 in sales, that could mean an extra $75 a month. And they're probably thinking $5 in sales. Well, that's 5 people who spent 100. We could probably find that, you know, and then 1,000, 10 people who are spending 100 earns us another 200. That's really doable. And so that's how you build their vision and just make it look doable and build that vision bigger for them and what is actually in it for them. It's always important that they know what's in it for them.
Right,
10%,
write these
30%
numbers
doesn't
down,
work.
okay, right, and I'm telling you, these numbers with a not-for-profit are game-changing numbers, okay? Over the course of the next, let's say 9 months, if they averaged 1 collagen customer a week, 1 a week, they would have 36 9 months from now. That would be 4,000 points. They'd be making $1,200 a month. That little not-for-profit with 36 collagen customers would be making $15,000 a year.
Okay.
$15,000 a year for donation. Okay, nobody's giving them $15,000. You know that, and I know that, especially in this economy, nobody's giving them $1,000, $1,200 a month. So, and there's no investment to do it other than somebody's got to pay the $50 for the distributor pack. Okay, we donated that, we paid that. Okay, so, but anyway, it wasn't available at 2%. Okay, we just couldn't do it. It didn't work. The old system didn't work for churches and not-for-profits. We had to get too creative. And when you got to get really creative, they don't have the brain, the bandwidth in their brain to think about that because they're thinking about their thing. Okay, their mind is on their thing. And when we're showing them how they can fund their thing, it has to be easy and simple so they don't need the bandwidth to figure it out. You know what I mean? If they have to overthink it, it's done. Now, I'm not saying a year from now, if they're making 1,000, 12, 1,500 a month, then that they wouldn't be open to having a bigger conversation about maybe introducing you to other not-for-profit friends of theirs that do other things. Like when we were meeting with these people the other day, there were 2 names that came up immediately that are rescuing everything. And every once in a while, they ask April's friend, Angel, if she could take it in because they just couldn't handle it. Okay. And there's lots of people out there that would be interested in funding their cause. And, you know, so anyway, there's so many doors that are open, but, you know, there's an old saying, if you complicate it, you won't duplicate it. You got to keep it as simple and easy as possible. And April's spot on when she said, you know, we're talking to each other so we can talk, you know, 10 to 30%, we can do that. But when we're talking to somebody that's not in the business, we can't do that. We have to show them the dollars. They understand dollars, not percentages. So, who else? Questions? Anything else? Anything goes. Zuma, you got anything to add to that?
It's a great idea. I didn't consider non-for-profit organizations, and I'm jogging down some names as you were talking.
Oh, yeah. It's, and again, we never even talked about it for 5 years because without getting really sophisticated or complicated with it, we just didn't have the right system to do it. And now we do. Okay, so it's another way to go about it, but like I said, it's funny, somebody mentioned a QR code Monday night at the meeting in Orlando, and just to show you how April and I work, okay, she told me at the meeting, don't let me forget to bring up using QR codes in doctor's offices. And we looked at it, we found the best place to duplicate it. We started printing them, and we already sent the stickers and the labels to 5 of our doctor's offices. They already have them on the way. Okay, because it gets the words out of it and it gets the busyness out of it. And I didn't have the big stickers that I could stick on a poster yet. They just arrived today, so I'll follow up with them where they can just slap that code right on the posters that we've been hanging on the wall. And that way, if they're sitting in the chair, if they're getting massaged, if they're getting their nails done, if they're getting their hair done, they can just scan it. Okay. And if they're waiting for whatever it is, drying or coloring or whatever it is, they can even order it while they're sitting there. Okay. And so anyway, I always say it's not the only way, but when you find something that's simple, you got to do it right away. It's not the only way, but when it's simple, it's got to be right away. Okay. And to us, that is a good add-on, and it makes sense for all our salons and doctors' offices. And honestly, it makes sense for individual distributors. If you're going to give anything to somebody, make sure you have a scan code on it, a QR code. Okay. So
Or a
yes,
booth.
everybody needs their own QR code. Don't ever use someone else's.
I
You got to
created
make your
mine.
own.
I created mine, and one of the things I was listening to April, I used to send a card. And with my cousin, she's from St. Thomas and she's in Orlando. And I sent her the page with the 3 collagens.
Uh-huh.
And she wanted to buy the collagen. And she calls me and she said, I want the fat burn.
Well, that's the beauty. But again, you sent it, she wanted collagen and she saw 3 options for collagen. That's different than just sending them to your website where they get inundated with 50 different products. Okay. And that's why, depending on what our offices are doing and what they're focused on, some of them just sell tons of fat burn. Others, sell Protandim, but most of them now have switched over and it's a lot of collagen. So you're right. If you send them to the page with the collagen, they may add the fat burn or the Protandim to it.
Yeah.
So
it
I like
depends.
that
Yeah.
one. But a shopping cart, if you've already talked to them and they know what they want to buy, the shopping cart's the way to go.
Mhm.
Anyone else? If you haven't heard also, the company is going into Chicago. We don't have a location yet, but April will be there with Catalina and Jaya, and the rest of the group on Friday, Saturday of this week. But corporate is coming into Chicago on February 22nd. So it's a Wednesday night. Okay, to be a Wednesday night meeting. So we don't have a location yet. It'll be somewhere near where the other meetings are going on. But again, if you have anybody there, corporate's going to be flying in, and April will be up there, and everyone else we mentioned will be there too. So anything else? You got it, Lynn? Noel? Liddy, this new system, man, you could have a field day with some of the folks that you have access to.
I have one question, Bobby. I'm seeing my massage therapist on Wednesday, and he's not in the business yet, and they already have a couple of businesses. So he has to come in first as a as a consultant?
If he wants to earn money,
Yeah,
he just signs up as a consultant, right? Or it could be a distributor now. You don't have to wait till we become consultants because all the distributors are just going to be converted to consultants. So it's not like he'd have to pay again, but he's going to have to be either a distributor or a consultant if it's March.
mhm. But if he just, because his wife has another business too, so I should just offer them the business part of it then first, right? Or should I just start with the collagen?
I would just get them on a collagen package where they are in the business and they're on the collagen.
Okay, okay,
You know, or get them both on the collagen and just add the $50, kit to it, just include it.
okay,
Remember, the distributorship's only $50, okay, but it's, and any way to get them started, because even if you get them started both as customers, we could just add in the $50 and show them what's what later. It doesn't matter. The thing is, get them in. Okay,
in,
get
okay,
them
alright.
in.
okay,
And whatever we got to do after that, we can do. Just get them started.
okay, all right, thanks.
So April, you said you can make a QR code in Canva.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing them all. And I've been doing them all in Canva.
Because I was just in there and I can't figure it out.
Google QR codes in Canva and you'll get the link.
Well, I'm in Canva. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't find it in Canva, but I found it on Google and it took me to Canva. So I don't know what the deal was there, and there's a bunch of other companies that do it too. It's just for those that have, and it might be a paid Canva account and not a free. I mean,
Yeah, we have a
I'm sure
paid.
you have a paid one, but yeah, just Google it and you'll find it. That's how I found it.
Okay.
There's a lot of, this is Angie, there's a lot of free apps out there that you can put on your phone that will generate them as well.
Yeah, I
Cool.
do. have
Bitly,
one.
Bitly will do it too.
Bitly
so-
is right. Bitly is a big one that does it too.
Yeah.
They do the domains and the QR codes.
Yeah, I have Bentley. I've created one in there. I just was going to try to do it all.
But just so you know, that is a very, very specific code that you have made for your website. You can't like use someone else's code. That would
Right.
be sending them to someone else's website. So you have to, what happens is whatever company or app you use, you got to paste in your address, your website address, and then it designs the QR code that takes them to that address.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's all it is. And then you got your code and take a picture of it, save the file, and you put it on anything you want to put it on.
Bob, I have one question.
No, you already
If-
did one. I'm just kidding. Okay, go ahead.
You know, if we think that most of the people will be just trying to get customers and they can make enough money, will they be interested in doing the business and get distributors and help them to grow?
Absolutely.
Very big
What
setting
we've found, it's easier now to get distributors than ever because they're happy customers. Everybody's asking them what they're doing, and they just flip over to the distributor side. That's why the packs are so cheap. That's why it only costs $350 for a pack now. That's why it's so cheap, because after being on it for a month or two, they just convert to, it'll be a consultant now. We talk distributors now, but it'll be a consultant. But absolutely, who doesn't at least want to earn enough money so their collagen is free? Everybody. I mean, that's,
but they're not going to be, but I feel that they will not be interested in going in depth their business. That is what I feel.
You know what, Jaya, that's not true because I just had a new customer join yesterday. And the premise, we've already talked business. She's going to use the product for a month and then join as a distributor. And I have no doubt that she will. It's just,
and she's
sometimes,
leaving another company she's been with a long time called
Yeah.
Juice Plus, has been around forever, and she's leaving that to join us.
so it's the way you talk it into the conversation, maybe the conversation starts with collagen, but I'm already saying that, you're going to love this stuff so much and it's so easy to sell. So I'm already putting it out there. It's easy to sell. all your girlfriends are gonna want it. You're gonna have to, you know, refer it to back to me. And you just talk it into the whole conversation as you're saying, like, there's a business. This is really great stuff. Everybody wants it. All I do is post up in stories. I just have a lady now that I'm going back and forth on Instagram. She told me no like a year ago, and now she's like, tell me about the collagen, sis. Like, we're best friends, sis. I mean, you know, it's just the way it is out there.
The one that I sold collagen to yesterday, I let her know that it went out today. And I said, check out how cool this is. And I sent her the QR code on a brochure to my website. I said, couldn't you just imagine hundreds of your clients scanning this? We didn't have a business talk. I'm just saying, couldn't you just imagine all your clients scanning this? Okay, so now if you're hitting them over the head, and I'm not saying you're doing that, but if you're hitting them over the head to join the business before they've used the product, then that's an awkward conversation, unless they said, man, I need to figure out how to make some money. And they open the door by bringing up money. But if that hasn't been the case, then I find it's never been easier to get distributors in the business. It's easier than ever.
I'm just saying, in fact, right now I have 3-4 people waiting to buy the product. They will be doing, I've sent them the cart and all, but they're becoming customers. But what I'm trying to tell, they may convert into a distributor also, but they may not have the intensity to grow more under them, distributors in different levels. That's what I'm talking about.
Jaya, you have no way of knowing what a person is going to do when the company sends them their first check and they've gotten paid and they get excited. We never know. When I met you 25 years ago, I never imagined you'd be in business with us for 25 years. We don't know what they're going to do. All we can do is help them get started and see what's next. Okay, and be there to help. And we're going into a scenario, and April already mentioned this, but you know, this country is in a very bad economic situation, job-wise and business-wise. Okay, we printed too much money, we gave too much free stuff away, we screwed up. Okay, and now we need to pay the price. Okay, and there's going to be a lot of people losing their businesses, losing their jobs, and getting cut back. And they can join a business like this for $50 and some product and start getting paid daily. I mean, working from home, from their kitchen table. This is a very, very unique opportunity that's going to be coming over the next year or two. Okay, very, very unique opportunity. So don't and here's the thing. Don't ever think anybody can't afford the product or can't afford the business. All it means is you didn't paint a clear enough picture, or you didn't create the desire in that person. Maybe the conversation was a little bit too much about you and not enough about them. But don't worry, we get do-overs over and over again. We always get to reapproach. We get as many do-overs as we want. But I'm telling you, this is a time when people start to get concerned about finances. It's the #1 time for network marketing to boom. Okay, because their other sources dried up. Their other options dried up, and we're still there. Okay, we're still there. And we never know what somebody's going to do. Here's the most important thing that you could ever do for a person that starts the business. Okay, customer, you just got to make sure they're using the product for that first month. But if they start the business, you got to complete the circle. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, you got them in. That's the first part. Okay, now you need to make sure they're using that product that they bought, even though they're a distributor. I'm saying if you signed up a distributor. But the most important thing that you can do is get that person sharing information with 5 or 10 other people. And before that month ends, that they've gotten paid because somebody became a customer or a distributor under them. And if you can help them start their business and earn their first check in that first month, the check could be $40 for collagen, okay? What it does is it shows them the whole thing works. They joined, they got their product, they like it, someone else bought, they got paid, the whole thing works. And then you can have a different conversation with them moving forward. But and we're all guilty of this. Here's what happens. We get them in. We all know whatever we said to get them in, but maybe we got them in with a little bit under some false pretenses. And months go by without them doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. And because the business was so cheap to get started in, and it came with product, a lot of times they never start doing the business and they just use up the product. So we got to be careful. That's why I love the fact, bring them in as customers first, unless they ask about earning money. Because if they're a happy customer, the business conversation is a snap. There's nothing to talk about. They just do it. Say, how would you like to make $40 to $60 every time someone buys collagen from you? And you know, just 2 of those and yours is free, or 2.5 of those and yours is free. It gets to be a real easy conversation if they're already sold on the product. Now, it doesn't mean I ain't talking business with somebody that wants to talk business, or I ain't talking money with someone that wants to talk money. But if that doesn't come up, I'm not forcing it. And I used to force it. Okay, I'm not doing that no more. Okay. It's too easy to get people to love the product and be happy to share it with friends than to me use my 30 years experience to get them to make a decision that maybe they weren't ready to make. Okay, so I can't tell you how excited I am about the new plan, because it's designed for a new person to make money right away. So
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Any last thoughts? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take an hour. We're generally go 45 minutes tops, but I'm not in a rush if you guys have anything else you want to say. Any last questions? Anything? Okay, well, we're closing out the month, you know that. And then let's look to double dip in February and March with the 40%, and then whatever our commissions are. And you know, that's all different. You just got to look and see what your PV is on your personal volume, and then you'll know what your residual will be. They're not calling it residual. What they call personal sales bonus. What your personal sales bonus will be in March. So, all right, you know how to reach us if you need anything. Angie, thanks for mentioning there's a zillion apps out there to do QR